Sunday, August 31st, 2014, and we are at the African American Museum Roots Voices for the 42nd annual Roots Family Picnic. We're taking interviews and collecting stories today for the Black Heritage Society. And today I am with Mr. Mills. Please state your name.
Henry Harold Mills Jr. I go by Harold, though.
Harold.
Yes.
Yeah, the Henry caught me off guard.
I know, yeah.
Okay. Well, I would love for you to tell us today about growing up here in the Northwest, and then what inspired you to get inside of a hydroplane and race it.
Okay. Well, let's see. I was born at Providence Hospital here in Seattle. That was back in 1953 for the young people there. We lived in Houston, Texas for quite a few years. So this was back in the 50s, and this was back in the times where colored bathrooms and that type of thing. I lived through a lot of that as a child. And my father passed away when I was 9 years old. Mom and all of us moved back to Seattle. And so it was like when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And so I grew up here, went to school here. We were talking earlier, one of your earlier interviews, the gentleman had the barber shop on Massachusetts Street. And I used to go to that barber shop as a kid. My grandfather took me there. So, you know, it was really neat to see somebody like that from my days of being here. But I used to cruise the streets in a car. And, you know, in those days in the 60s, cars were the in things. We didn't have football, we didn't have basketball, we didn't have baseball. So that was it. You had to entertain yourself. And hydroplane racing was our big sport. That was our Seattle Seahawks. And, you know, my hero, instead of like Russell Wilson, was Bill Muncy, who was one of the top-notch drivers. But the deal was there were no black hydroplane racers. And, but I loved the sport. I just loved it, but I finally got up the nerve to go ahead and try it. And I bought a boat. It wasn't the fastest boat. In fact, it was the slowest boat there ever was. And got in it and sank.
Oh, no.
So I was more embarrassed than I was hurt by it or anything like that. But that was my determination to come back. Came back, and a couple of years later, I won my first race with the slowest boat in the field.
What year was that when you were out in that first boat?
The first run I ever made at Green Lake was in 1982. And, you know, not really knowing physics, the laws of physics, which I've learned. That's why I always tell youngsters, get an education. Mathematics will haunt you if you don't get it when you have the opportunity. And because with the boats, math figured in big, the geometry of the valve cylinders, that type of thing. So it was just one of those things where I just enjoyed doing it. I liked it.
And you touched just a few minutes ago on the fact that you didn't see anyone racing boats that looked like you.
Right.
So in my opinion, that took a lot of courage on your part to get out there and try hydroplane racing as a sport.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing about it is I ventured off into an area where in those days you didn't know how people were going to accept you. So I have to pat these people on the back, you know. Nobody ran over and gave me the world record holding boat to drive, but no one denied me my opportunity to try. But you had to earn it. And so I felt I'd succeeded when guys were comfortable with me driving alongside of them going into the first turn 150, 200 miles an hour. And they trusted me. That let me know you had arrived. I had arrived, yes. And so I did a lot of helping as far as helping people get their boats running good as a consultant, driver consultant. And so, yeah, it was just one of those deals that I look at it now as I know we can do it, but I do say not everybody can do it. because it does take a considerable amount of nerve to do that.
What about dollars?
You know, we're just discussing that. That's probably part of the reason I retired when I did, because I just said I wasn't going to do it for free. I did do it for free. I did it because I loved it. And I tell people, if you'll do something without being paid, and you find yourself in your off hours committing total everything into doing it, that's probably something you might want to look at doing. And that's one of the deals. That's the way it was with me with boat racing. My family, my wife, and my stepsons, and then my daughter. You know, everybody was on the crew, and it was a family thing, and that's the way it should be. You know, so but it was just one of those deals that I chose to do that, and never ran. Now, I'm not saying there weren't obstacles. I'm just saying they weren't outward, and I never let anything negative sounding stop me from driving.
Well, that's what I can appreciate, you know, in your story, and I've read it, and I love the way that you want to give back and your mentorship. You've mentored hydroplane racers.
They did a feature a while back with Kaylee Perkins, Mallory now, she's married now. I felt she had a talent, and I said, she just has it, and she did. She did. Now she kind of ran into the same thing that, you know, it's just one of those deals where they just didn't hire a girl, because I've tried to get other, you know, even in car racing, young lady Bria Lopez drove cars, and we tried to get her a sponsorship, and people actually came out and said, I don't want to sponsor a girl. And I said, wow, really? You know? And so, unfortunately, Kaylee was good. She was very good, and she's just one of those that didn't get picked up, because I'm pretty sure she, like myself, we don't play the game, the political game. I'm not gonna BS with you. If I can beat you, I'm gonna beat you. So, you know. So anyway, that's it. So I try to talk to young people, in whatever they're gonna do it.
Right. The hydroplane circuit is pretty vigorous, isn't it?
It used to be. It's falling off now, and I think a lot of it is the sport has found met its match in competition as far as sports. You've got the Seahawks. Now you've got the Sounders. Huge. The women's basketball, the Storm, which I got to meet some of them too. Even did some sponsorship work for one of them one time, so that was great. But there's so much competition out there now that it's just really hard to tell people to come pay to see something that they may, you know, it's just not the same. It's just not the same.
So it seems like it's just seasonal for us here. It's like it comes around at Seafair.
Yeah, and that's sad.
Yes.
That's really sad. Skip and I, when I was active and really had my own boat, we tried to get around as many schools and functions as we could. Sponsors, I would take the boat and park it in their parking lot and hang out all day long to promote the sport, and they don't do that anymore.
Do you still have the boat?
No, we got boats gone. Boats are gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you couldn't get a hold of one, but for the most part, mine are gone. Yeah.
And you also mentioned that your family is here in Seattle. Is your family still living here in Seattle?
Yeah. Well, Mom passed away. Dad passed away in Houston. Mom passed away back in '85, I think it is, '86. And my sisters still live here. I have two sisters, Jackie and Gwen. They live here, and my nieces, of course. But we're still in Seattle. We're still in Seattle.
Which high school did you graduate from?
I went to Renton High School, Renton Senior High. Yeah, I went to Campbell Hill, A.W. Dimmitt, and then Renton Senior High. Class of '71.
Well, today you were here at the Roots Picnic because the community wanted to honor you for your service. And I would just like to say, for one, that I think that's long overdue. Really happy that you were here today to join us and to share some of your story. Your story is also in the African American Museum here in Seattle, and we have a fantastic curriculum package.
Yeah.
So hope that you'll come back and maybe someday give a little tour with me at the
Oh,
museum.
absolutely, absolutely. Be
You
my
will?
pleasure. Oh, yeah, be my pleasure. You got me on record now.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you
very
so
much.